All right, so our keyword is midpoint. Midpoint. What does midpoint remind you of? I just said it. Middle. The midpoint is in the middle of 2 points. Or you can say it's halfway between. Now, like on the distance yesterday, we had to practice on a number line and a coordinate plane. We're doing that same thing today. So there's technically 2 formulas, but I'm going to make it where you don't necessarily have to memorize it. Somebody tell me how you find the average of 2 numbers. Somebody know? How do you find the average of 2 numbers? Go ahead. Add them up divided by 2. That's what we're doing right here. We're finding the middle of 2 points. We're finding the average of 2 numbers. So here's A. What point is A on? -9. And let's add it with F. What's F on? 3. And then we need to divide it by 2. So I want to see your calculator on your desk. -9 plus 3 is what? Negative, I heard somebody say it. 6 divided by 2, which is what? -3. That's the middle of A and F. That is your midpoint. You just found the middle of 2 numbers. Or you can say the average. Okay, try 8 and 9. Yes, Grant? Because A is on -9. It's in between -10 and -8, which means 9's in the middle. What? Because we're finding the middle of 2 numbers. Here's your formula right here. We're finding the average of 2 numbers, the middle. So try BG. Trace, what'd you get? 4. Good. B was at 0. G was at 8. Divided by 2. 4. Do y'all agree? Good. Head up, please. All right, BD. BD, Parker, what'd you get? Am I too ahead of the game? What'd you get for 9? Okay. Try it. Well, let's do it together. What's B? Parker, what point?
7. -7.
Good. -7. Where's D?
0.
0. Divided by 2. Am I going to get a decimal? Yes. What kind of decimal? Negative what? 3 and 0.5. 3.5. Good. That's okay. That's okay. All right, now, the next part's not too bad either. Now we have a coordinate plane. We have 2 points, and we have to find the middle of both of them on a coordinate plane. So here's your formula. You take your x's, and you add them together. Well, how many numbers am I adding together? 2. So guess what I'm dividing by? 2. So take your x's and add them together. Take your y's and add them together. And divide by 2. Here's the difference in a number line and a coordinate plane. When you're finding the midpoint of a coordinate plane, 2 points, your answer is going to be a point. You're going to have an X answer and a Y answer. It's not just one number. You're going to have a point to go to. Does that make sense? So for midpoint on the coordinate plane, your answer is going to be a point. Okay, Carson Brown, tell me the 2 X's I have right here. That's a Y. 6. There we go. So we're taking both of our X's, -12 and 6, divide by 2. Jalen, tell me the Y's. Good. 8 and 12. So let the x's stick together, let the y's stick together, and divide by 2. Now, some of you can go from this to your answer. I'm going to take one step further, just so people know where I'm getting these numbers from. Negative 12 plus 6 is what? Negative 6. Divide by 2. 8 plus 12 is? Divided by 2. Now, if you want to go from here to here, that's fine. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Okay, try 11 and 12.
Because you have negative 1. No, B was 1. And W is 5. So the factor is negative 6. Well, the distance formula is a minus. So right there, negative 6 is a minus. Right in. Like, Savannah, Jacob, Peyton, Will, Chloe, make me have like this. Bella, Grace, Parker, Jojo, Sydney, Courtney, Ashley, Logan. Okay, what I just gave you is a task. If you ever need to come to my classroom before 0 period, I'll offer tutoring from 7 a.m. to 8:10 a.m. That is an hour and a half, an hour and 10 minutes. Okay? An hour and 10 minutes I offer tutoring. So if you aren't doing well and you're not coming to get help when I offer tutoring for 5 hours and 50 minutes a week, then there's a problem. Okay? So, just letting you know, the pass is because they won't let you come down the hall before 7:30. But if you have that, then you can get down the hall. Okay? All right. Blake, tell me what you got for 11. Positive? Okay, I need to show y'all something. Watch this. This is how you set this one up. You go negative 2 plus negative 9 divided by 2. 6 plus 3 divided by 2. Y'all agree? Here's where some of you are going to make a mistake. You are going to type this in your calculator, and you're going to go negative 2 plus negative 9 divided by 2. That calculator is going to think you only want to divide 9 by 2. So if you press enter, I get negative 6.5. Is that right? No. So if you want to type the whole thing in your calculator, you need to put parentheses, negative 2 plus negative 9. Close your parentheses, divided by 2. Then you'll get the right answer. Okay? All right, London, what did you get for 12? Shall I get negative 1? You have to do negative 4. Negative 4 plus 2 divided by 2. Negative 4 plus 3 divided by 2. So you should get negative 1 and then negative 0.5. Negative 1 and negative 1 and or 1/2. Okay, the next part. Y'all have got to stay with me on this part. This is the last type of thing we're learning, and it's probably the most difficult. There's a lot of work to be shown. So if you write big and you don't like the amount of space I've given you, you can use a separate piece of paper. Okay, I'm going to use a separate piece of paper because I write big. So here is the problem. We have a line, so draw a line at the top. And this line segment, technically, because there's no arrows, so it's a line segment. Cordell, will you let Carson in? There's a line segment. And what's it called? What are the endpoints? E and G. Okay, you have E and you have G. Now, it tells you that P is the midpoint. So let's put P in the middle. P is the midpoint. Okay, so here's the problem. The problem is we're given E, which is negative 8, 6. And we're given P, which is negative 5, 10. Now, I know that these are coordinate points, but I'm just showing you this line segment to make you see it better. Okay, so technically this is on a coordinate plane. It's not a number line. Here's the problem. We need to find G. We need to find G. But what we have been doing, we've been taking these two, adding them together, dividing, and getting the midpoint. Now we have to reverse the formula so that we can use one endpoint and one midpoint to find the other endpoint. So y'all got to stay with me, okay? Here we go. Let's write down the midpoint formula. Do you remember what it was? X1 plus what? X2 divided by? And then add your y's. Y sub 1 plus y sub 2 divided by 2. What does that equal? What did I just find? Midpoint. Good. You just found your midpoint. Okay, so let's label our points over here. E is x1, or negative 8 is x1, and 6 is y1. Your midpoint does not get labeled as an x or a y1 or 2, okay? Your midpoint does not get labeled. But what we're missing is x2, y2. That's what we're missing. So now, let's plug them all into the formula. So do we know x1? Yes, so let's plug it in. So you know negative 8. Do I know x squared? No. So just leave x squared like it is. Okay, then divide by 2. Alright, everybody with me so far? We knew negative 8 was x sub 1. I don't know this one. That's why I left x sub 2 alone. Okay, let's do the next side. Do I know y sub 1? What is it? 6. I don't know y sub 2, so I'm going to leave it. Divide by 2. Close parentheses. Now, do I know the midpoint? Do I know the midpoint? Yes. So, write, instead of midpoint, fill it in. You know the midpoint. It's negative 5, 10. Jacob, you with me? You writing all this down? Okay, here's where it gets a little bit tricky. We have to solve for x sub 2 and y sub 2. We have to solve for those. So here's how it works. You have to break this problem into two separate problems. So I'm going to box this first. So you have the x's and the x. In order to solve for x sub 2, I have to set both of the x's equal. So now I'm going to have negative 8 plus x sub 2 divided by 2, which equals the x over here, which is negative 5.
Did y'all see how I just set those two equal? X spot, set them equal. Now let's solve. How do I get rid of this 2? Multiply by the top, because it's division right now. The opposite of division is multiplication. So multiply by both sides. 2's cancel. So then I have negative 8x plus x sub 2. Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. What's next? Add 8. Good. Add 8. X sub 2 is equal. Negative 10 plus 8 is negative 2. Good. Save this for later. We're not done. You see what I'm talking about? If you don't pay attention, this problem is very long, and there's lots of steps. Okay, so if we set the x equal with the x, what do you think we're going to set y equal to? Good. So I boxed and boxed. Now I'm going to circle and circle. Anything that's boxed, set equal. Anything that's circled, set equal. So now let's do the y. 6 plus y sub 2 divided by 2 is equal to 10. Multiply each side by 2. This cancels. 6 plus y sub 2 equals, what's 10 times 2? 20. Then what? I heard it. Good. Subtract 6. So y sub 2 is equal to 14. Now, good. But don't leave it like this. Your answer is a end point. So make it look like an end point. X comes first. So your point, what point were we finding? EP or G? G. So G equals, X comes first, negative 2, then Y sub 2, 14, close parentheses. Now you're done. That's your answer. That was a lot. But you can do it. I know you can. Now we're going to practice. You know everything you need to know for your test on Friday. You know it. So, let's practice number 14. So, I'm going to draw another line segment. Does it help looking at the line segment for you? Okay. Same endpoints. E, G, P still in the middle. Let's fill in what we do know. I know P. P is negative 1, 3. And I know G. 5, 6. Now here's the difference in the first one we did and the second one we did. Here, we were missing this side. And I labeled it x sub 2, y sub 2. Here I'm missing this side. You can still label this x sub 2, y sub 2 if you want to. The order does not matter. It doesn't matter which one's x sub 1, which one's x sub 2. Doesn't matter. So do y'all want me to do it the same way I did the first one? Yes? No? What do y'all want to label E? Do you want this to be x sub 1, y sub 1?
Yes.
Yes? And then you want to solve for x sub 2. Okay, let's do it. So what I have to find is x sub 1, y sub 1. That makes G what? What's that make G? X2 and y2. Remember, your midpoint doesn't get a name. It's not cool enough. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite the formula. You don't have to, because it's probably on your page above. Okay, so let's fill in what we know. X sub 1, I don't know it, so let's leave it. Do you know x sub 2? 5. Good. Yeah, it's over here. I know that one is 5 divided by 2. Bless you. Remember, we left y sub 1 blank. So we're finding that. What's y sub 2? 6. Do y'all see? Y'all following? Okay, 6 divided by 2. Now plug in your midpoint. -1, 3. We got up to this point. What's next? Set them equal. Let's start with x's, okay? Yes, ma'am.
Can you please have Parker join the checkout?
Yes.
Okay.
Parker, on your homework tomorrow, I'm going to take it up. On the back, we're doing 1, which you already did through 6. So y'all are doing 7 through 17 odd. 7 through 17 odd. Okay, stay with me. I'll remind you of that at the end. That was for Parker. Okay, so we're back. We're back over here. Let's set them equal. X's set equal to what? X goes with X. So X sub 1 plus 5 divided by 2 equals -1. Bye, Parker. Solve. Go. Try to solve that. Just that one. So I get -7. Okay, now let's see. Y's equal y. So y sub 1 plus 6 divided by 2 equals 3. Colby, what do I do first? What do I do first to solve for y? Multiply by 2. Multiply by 2. Y sub 1 plus 6 equals 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract 6. So y1 is equal to what? 0. Am I done? No. Put it all together. What comes first, x or y? X. I'm solving for point E, so E is equal to -7, 0. That is your answer. Now, I'm about to give you the rest of the class to work on your homework. But this is the order I want you to do it. Like you heard me tell you earlier, I am going to check this tomorrow. I want you to do 7 through 17 odds. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 problems. But I want you to do 17 now. Start with 17. You have to do it on a separate piece of paper. Don't cram it on here. So get a piece of paper out. Start with 17. Okay, and I'm going to come around and check. The first 10 minutes, listen guys, the first 10 minutes, I want you to work by yourself. Then I'll let you work with a partner, okay? So by yourself for the next 10 minutes.